So I'm gonna go out and say that what Vaush said was not really scandalous. There was look when that dude was like, all right, Vaush, I'm done, Vaush. That was the most bitched shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. That was so cucked and that was like some biggest cuck shit I've ever seen in my life. And can we just be honest about that? Because it's such an embarrassment to tankies that that's how you would respond in that conversation. That's a fucking embarrassment to tankies, dude. That's an embarrassment to tankies. Okay? And the hilarious, I'm going to actually break down the confrontation. I can't show the stream, but I can break down the confrontation for you and explain to you why both are worse than each other. But, oh yeah, he's an anarchist. The thing is that Slavoj Žižek made the literal exact same point as Vaush. Žižek said that even if you granted the Nazis all of their factual claims about like their proportion of Jewish people who were in banking, even if you granted them all of that, that's not important because that does not justify the pathology of anti-Semitism. Okay? Now, I actually have not studied and looked into whether what Vaush said was correct, if there was a disproportionate amount. But there is a disproportionate amount of very brilliant, bright-minded Jewish people, right? It's not a coincidence that Marx and Freud and Einstein were Jewish, because Jewish culture cultivates it places a very big emphasis on education and things like that. So it's not really, you can't just deny reality and just be like, oh, we're just gonna pretend, we're just gonna lie about the facts. Well, look at the facts and maybe Vaush is correct. I'm not saying this because I'm scared to say he's correct about it. I literally have not looked at the statistics. But it honestly would not surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because historically speaking, actually, in medieval Europe, Christians were not allowed to engage in usury by the command of their religion. So, what the kings and monarchs of Europe used to do was that they would appoint Jewish people and basically have them take the rap for financial matters. And then every time there was a crisis, Jews would get the blame as the scapegoat. But Jews were allowed to engage in usury, so kings would appoint them, and that's the whole source of the whole banking thing, right? So it's not really like you don't have to agree with anti-Semitism to acknowledge the basic facts of reality. Anyway, but the funny thing is that that entire confrontation, this is what makes it fucking ironic, that entire confrontation between NonCompete and Vaush stemmed from Vaush's hyper, liberal, paranoid, everyone's a Nazi, everyone a Nazi, you're a Nazi, NonCompete, everyone's a Nazi, and a Nazi. Why did you even bring up the topic, Vaush? He brings up that topic in literally every single conversation. Why is NonCompete your enemy? Everything is because of the patriotism shit. Literally everything is. That's what summed it up. But everything is about, who do you represent? The professional managerials or the working class? They don't like my tone. They don't like how I'm not politically correct. Whatever. And for them, Marxism, Leninism means liberalism to the extreme. So that's what we're talking about, right? But anyway, Vaush always, you know why Vaush always brings up Nazism and Nazis and fascists? Because Vaush is what you call a classical neurotic. He's a neurotic. And I'll explain what that means and the significance. So, a neurotic is really anxious about securing their, securing their copium. Basically, neurotics cope with reality in a certain way.
CPUSA 2036.
Thank you so much, Youngs. So neurotics have a way of coping with reality, right? And that copium, they're very, very anxious about. If I lose this cope, the whole world will shatter and it'll be the apocalypse. That's neuroticism, right? And Vaush's cope specifically is his like unique ethical system that he contrived for himself. And for Vaush, his own ethical system is the dividing line between being a progressive good person, moral, and Nazism and fascism. So thank you so
W.
much, IFWN. Appreciate you. So like for Vosh, if you don't have this ethical system, nothing will save you from being a Nazi. So Vosh basically thinks that there's like a river, right? And the river is fascism. And that naturally the river flows in the direction of fascism. And Vosh wants to build a dam to stop the river. And he fears that any compromise to his dam is going to unleash fascism. And that's just the default gravity of our intuitive human instinct and passions or whatever, right? So
Dub.
thank you so much, Nichita League. Appreciate you. So um he always brings it up because Vosh himself is tempted by the ideology of 4chan.
Head.
Thank you so much. He's himself is tempted by the ideology of 4chan neo-Nazism, um, which is actually, I believe, his origins. He used to be that, I'm pretty sure, right? He used to be a 4chan neo-Nazi, just like all those other Twitch streamers that are after me. It's the same thing, right? Now, there's something I can say to everyone here. I have never been a fucking Nazi. I have never been a fascist in my fucking life. I've never been a neo-Nazi. I've never ever been my whole life. I used to be a, let's just say, a follower of Khomeini thought, hardcore, when I was like a teenager. And by a teenager, I mean like when I was in middle school, and yeah, so I don't mean like a late teenager. Um, so let's go back to Vosh. So the whole context that, you know how I'm good faith, you know how I'm honest, and I just tell you how it is, and I don't even fucking care about. That's what people tell me. Like, you know what, Haas, you play it honest and they play it dirty. How the fuck could you ever win, Haas? When you're honest and they play dirty, how could you ever fucking win? And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know how I could ever fucking win. But honesty is my default go-to, right? So the context for this thing that happened between Vaush and NonCompete was um NonCompete was saying that you don't need an ethical system. You just have to go look at reality. Now, both of these people are not educated in any of the things that they're talking about. Thank you. I will walk back. Appreciate you. These are both extremely ignorant, like uneducated. You know, I have to use this language now because everything else is considered harassment. But these are stupid fucking people, right? They don't know anything that they're talking about. They don't know like why they even have the views that they do philosophically. So non-compete was trying to say that dialectical materialism basically just means you just you just it's all based on factual truth in reality. It's just based on facts and reality. Non-compete was trying to make it seem like dialectical materialism is just empiricism or positivism, which it's not. But because he's not smart, he just went ahead and said that. And now here comes Vosh, who says, really, is it just this naive realism of empiricism? Okay. So you don't need an abstract ethical system. What's separating you from being a Nazi? And non-compete basically was like, the Nazis were wrong about the factual truths of the world. And then Vosh was like, okay, but they weren't wrong about, about that specific one that she talked about. And then I was like, okay, I'm done, Vosh. I'm done, Vosh. I'm done. So, um, that's basically exactly what happened. You know, the thing is that both of them were fucking wrong. Absolutely both of them were wrong. and I'll explain to you why. So non-compete thinks that you can just refer to reality by itself, but reality is internally contradictory. So you cannot just refer to reality and refer to facts. Um, because again, facts are in fact internally contradictory and inconsistent. Um, Instead of talking about the Nazis being factually wrong about the world, the dialectical materialist position would have situated the Nazis in the world. They would have said the Nazis represented the rotten ruling class of Germany, and that they, that you would have talked about who they were and what they represented and what they were for, like concretely within the do a basic class analysis, right? That's what Dimitrov and the anti-fascist theorists did. Um, on the other hand, Vaush is wrong because his abstractly contrived ethical system has no reality. So that's the secret of Vaush, and a lot of people don't know the fucking secret of Vaush, is that he does not believe that his view of the world is correct. He just thinks it's consistent. Vaush begins from an axiomatic premise, and building upon this premise, I'm giving him so much credit because I'm making him seem like a grand philosopher, but hear me out. He just built this kind of ethical system, which whose foundations are completely arbitrary. But Vaush will hold being initiated into his little cult on bond of, oh, so do you want the Nazis and all those horrible genocides and the Holocaust and whatever? Like, he will use that as blackmail to be initiated into his cult. The foundation of his cult is just arbitrary axiomatic premise, right? It's completely arbitrary. But Vaush thinks this is the only thing that can protect us from an outcome which we all agree intuitively is bad and catastrophic and something we would want to avoid. And that's actually the secret of Vaush's whole cult. Agree with my fucking bullshit, or you're a fucking Nazi. I mean, I really want you guys to just let this be hammered home about who Vaush is and like what his community is or all this shit. It's literally agree with me or you're a Nazi. And look, you can fucking try to spin it which way and be like, they don't think you have to agree with everything. But at the end of the day, it's agree with me or you're a Nazi. Agree with me or there's going to be another Holocaust, right? Something like that. Agree with me or they're going to bring back the camps. That's what defines Vaush. It's just condenses everything you need to know about him. And I'm really disappointed in how tankies are being associated with people who have even more of that paranoid liberal neuroticism than even fucking Vaush has. Why are tankies being associated with people who are even more fucking neurotic and liberal than Vaush is? Shouldn't tankies be the ones to be saying, why are you calling everything Nazi? Why are you being so paranoid and accusing everyone of anti-Semitism for no fucking reason? Like, shouldn't that be the tanky position? Why is the tanky position like, okay, Vaush, I'm done. Like, I feel like it's also really patronizing toward Jewish people because the Jewish people that I talk to, at the very least, they tend not to be tempted to become Nazis, so they don't automatically assume that, you know, that the river flows in the direction of Nazis, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Not a lot of people are not fucking ready for that conversation.